Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to Pelican Talks. Welcome to Pelican Talks. This is 2024, and welcome to the UE Mona as we seek to bring you through the entire, application process and give you information that you need to know that we find relevant for students, for prospects. I know some parents might be tuning in, and so I'm going to give you an opportunity to nudge your friends, tell your parents to come closer to the screen. If you're listening via your phone, you can share the link because we want everybody who is considering to be a UE Pelican come this September to tune in to hear about what we have to say regarding application assistance, regarding the general application details. We'll talk a little about our international study opportunities, and of course, most students want to hear about financial assistance. What can the UA do for me? My name is Odean Murray. I'm the Acting Assistant Registrar for Undergraduate Recruitment, and I have my lovely team here with me. I'll introduce them accordingly. I want to tell you, though, that the UA Mona is ranked #1 in the English-speaking Caribbean. We are in the 1% of universities, top 1% of universities in the Latin American Caribbean region. And in the world, we are ranked among the best 1.5%. And so persons who are considering higher education, I want you to consider the UE Mona, that it is a place that will develop you. You will get a degree that is accredited, and also you can think of opportunities that will develop you outside of the classroom, not just your degree. So we're happy to have you, and we want you to feel free to ask questions in the chat as we get into the session. Now, there's some housekeeping matters, some things I want to make you aware of, right? And so the first thing is that applications are still open. Applications are still open, and we're winding down to our deadline. And so I want for you to ask all the questions that you have that is perhaps hindering you or you're uncertain about or preventing you from submitting that application. And I want you guys to get as much information as possible to be able to complete your application. I want you also to know that we're inviting you and your school. We have our open house day 2 on February 23. Some of you might be on who would have visited our campus last November, and we had to cancel day 2 because of the weather. And so we are now ready to stage day 2, February 23. And day 2 will allow you to interact with our faculties. You will do a tour of the campus. And so you'll be better guided as to what are the opportunities here for you at the UE Mona and how it would benefit you to become a UE Mona Pelican, right? So that's it from me. I'll be your host/moderator for the evening. Short 1-hour session, just getting you ready for the proceedings to come. Now, the first person who will speak to you is Dr. Marsha Morgan Allen, and she comes to us from the admissions department. She's a senior assistant registrar, and so all your questions that you have regarding your birth certificate and this program and that, this is the person who can guide you in ensuring you have the right information as you prepare to apply. And so I'm going to invite Dr. Morgan Allen to come to the fore and speak to you a little about the general application process and the details.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Murray. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Pelican Talks. Now, the role of the Admissions and International Office is to ensure that you all transition into the UWI Mona as seamlessly as possible. So we are here to give a very good experience when it comes to the admissions process. And so I hope that this information session will assist you in this regard. Now, I'm not sure how many of you are aware that we have 2 intakes for the year. We have an intake in January for some faculties, and we have another in November, in which all our faculties are open. And so for the January intake, we opened applications last year, October 1, and we closed 31st of October. And so for August now, we opened applications in November of last year, and we will close on January 31. Now, my talk to you is about getting your application in. It's ready for processing. There are no hitches, okay? Over the years, we have had persons who are duly qualified, but because of some glitch or some mistake that they have made on the application, that delayed the processing of their application. And we don't want that to happen to you, right? So one of the first things to do before starting your application is to research the UII, right? Our ranking, you heard earlier that we are #1 in Jamaica. We're #1 in the Caribbean, right? So you research the UII, you research the program entry requirements, the faculty requirements, courses, and this information can be found in our faculty handbook on our homepage, on our website at www.mona.edu.jm. Now, as I mentioned before, we have seen persons who complete their application, they sit there waiting and say, how could we haven't heard anything from admissions? And then they're getting emails from us, do this, do that, do that. So one of the things that can cause your application to be delayed, right, is that you apply for programs, but your qualifications do not match either the university requirements, the faculty requirements, or the department or program requirements. Say, for instance, we have a lot of persons who apply to the Faculty of Social Sciences. We call it the business faculty. Not really business, but in most persons' minds, that's the business faculty. And they look towards the Mona School of Business and Management, MSBM, their programs in accounting, human resource management, entrepreneurship, operations management, management studies, all of those programs. But guess what? They have no CSEC maths. You must have your CSEC maths in order to do any MSBM program, all right? And you must have your maths and your English also for Faculty of Science and Technology, Faculty of Medical Sciences. So you have to look in that handbook. There's a quick reference guide also through our Office of Student Recruitment, and it tells you what the entry requirements are for each of our programs. As I said earlier, the handbook is on our website. So please look through that handbook. And it's not just about your entry requirements, but the handbook also has a lot more information. Sometimes persons think that they want to do a particular program. But in looking at the courses, looking at the content, looking at the program requirements, you may think differently and want to do something else. Next, one of the other issues that we have seen is that persons do not follow the instructions in the acknowledgement letter. Now, when you complete your application, right, and it's an online application, as you know, once you submit that application, once you click that submit button, the email address that you had used to create that application form, right? You will receive an acknowledgement letter. In that acknowledgement letter are instructions. Please follow them to the T. All right, they're very important. It tells you about the kind of documents that we require from you. It tells you how to go about certifying those documents. Now, we have seen that persons submit their application, and yes, you can submit your documents afterwards, but we find that you submit your application in November, December, January, and we have been emailing you over and over. I've been calling you, submit, upload your documents, and we are ignored. We cannot move forward without you submitting your documents. And these documents include some form of identification, right? So it can either be your birth certificate or your passport. We must see your nationality, and there's a reason, because when it comes to the fee category, or whichever government is going to sponsor you for your program, in terms of tuition and fees, the nationality is very, very important. So we need to have your nationality. We also need to have some form of identification, because when we get your credentials, whether from CXC or a community college, then we need to match your ID with your application form and with those supporting documents. So it's very important that we get all of your documents. Just follow the instructions in the acknowledgement letter. We have seen persons, they upload documents, yes, but guess what? They're not certified. They're not certified, or they're certified by unauthorized persons. We do not accept certification from persons such as JPs, Justices of the Peace, all right? If you're in high school, please visit your high school office, and your sixth form coordinator, your principal, somebody in that office is going to certify your documents. They're aware of the procedure, all right? Other than that, you can visit one of the admissions offices at any UA location, whether here in Jamaica or in the region, right? Just visit us and we can certify, but certainly not JPs, because we have seen JPs certifying copies of documents, certifying screenshots. That's not how it goes. JPs are supposed to certify original documents. They're supposed to see the original document and the copy that you're bringing to be certified. We have also seen persons uploading screenshots and pictures. These are not acceptable. We will not accept them. And so you will also receive a call back from us to say, look, we need your document. Some documents that are scanned, please inspect the document to ensure that they are scanned properly, especially your birth certificate. At the bottom of the birth certificate is a number. And so, you know, we need to see the entire paper, that birth certificate. It should not be blurred either. Another reason that will cause your application to be delayed, you do not put on subjects that you're sitting exams for in this year. So you have some persons who are now sitting, you know, CSEC or CAPE. Some of them also, they are awaiting the award of their degrees, whether associate degrees or bachelor's. Please indicate that, you know, these grades are to come in, and that will, you know, complete your qualification. Because what if you just present that you're sitting CSEC? We won't know that you're doing CAPE. And if the program requires CAPE, then right away we're going to give you a letter to say is that, you know, you haven't met the requirements. If it is that you have submitted an associate degree, but you haven't completed it, we're going to write it to say that, you know, we need a completed transcript, one that shows the award of your degree. Another issue that we have seen over the years, persons apply, well, you know, we give you the choice to apply to up to 4 programs. After they have submitted their application, then they contact us to say, look, I am not interested in any one of those 4 programs. Can I change? And so, you know, we'll have to go back and amend your application. That also, you know, delays the processing of your application. We have also seen persons change their contact information. So after submitting their application to us, we're trying to reach them. Something could be wrong with their application. We can't reach them. Telephone numbers have been changed, email addresses bounce back. It is very important that you keep that same email address active. Why? Because that is our way of communicating with you. Your application package, your offer package is going to be sent to that email address, your offer letter. All our correspondences will be sent to that email address. And so it's very important that you continue to check your email as often as possible and to keep it active. We have also seen persons not indicating which school they graduated from. You know, especially if they changed school after 5th form, you know, they may have gone elsewhere for 6th form. We also need that information. What we do not require are your high school transcripts. For those in the Caribbean region, once you have done CXC exams, that is sufficient. We only require the high school from those who are outside of the region. So please do not request high school transcripts from your school. It's not necessary. We don't even look at it. So please don't bother. There are many persons who start our application process and they think that they have submitted their application, but they have not. Why? Because they have not clicked the submit button at the end of all of that. Please ensure that your application is complete and then you click submit. Go back and click submit and you will get the acknowledgement letter. If you do not click submit, you will get the acknowledgement letter with the instructions. Now, there are some persons in selecting their courses, their program, they make a mistake. And so instead of clicking undergraduate level, they click graduate. Now, if you click graduate, you're not going to see the programs of your choice, right? So take, for instance, we've had persons thinking that medicine is a graduate program. No, it's not. Dentistry is a graduate program, not because it's doctor of dental surgery. No, it's undergraduate. And so you're not going to find some of your programs if you click on graduate. Some persons think that the doctor of medicine, in gynecology and obstetrics, all those specializations, those you don't, those are specializations after you've graduated from the undergraduate program, Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery. So that DM program, that's when you start to specialize, hoping to become a consultant. But you don't jump from high school to being a consultant. You have to be a trained general practitioner first. And so that is at the undergraduate level. We have also seen persons complete application form, do not review their application form. So guess what? Their names are misspelled. Okay, just some typical simple mistakes. Sometimes you're looking at it and you think that you have typed in, your name properly. You've been writing it for so long. But sometimes we do make mistakes. So please go back and check before you click submit. Make sure that your name, your date of birth, all of those things are correct. And the reason why it is important is we get results directly from the CXC office, okay? And so when you had registered for your CXC exams, your name would have been in a particular format. And so when you apply to us, we do a matching process, and the name that you put on the application form has to match what you had registered for at CXC. If there's a discrepancy, then it means that they won't match and we won't receive those results electronically. Furthermore, if it is that you did not upload certified documents to prove that these are your passes in a CXC, there's nothing that we can do. And so, of course, you're going to get an email from us. The offer process, all right? How does it go? Well, applications close the end of January, and come February, we'll be sending out offers for those whose applications are complete, meaning that we have all of their results. For those programs, though, that require additional entry requirements, such as interviews, you need to submit your voluntary hours, you need to do your dental observation, police record recommendations, etc. Right. So all of those things must come in so that we can move full speed ahead and complete your application processing. There are some programs, though, that you will not hear, your status at first because of the competition. Some programs are very competitive, and it's based on ranking. So we have to wait until we have completed all the different requirements. So there's an interview to be done, your volunteer hours, your questionnaire, all of those things have to be in place. And what we do is that we take, unfortunately, the most competitive ones, meaning that those who meet the criteria and are ranked highest, especially in those quota-based programs, because there are some programs that have limited space, especially in the MBBS, whereby we have just a smaller number of sponsored places compared to you paying the full economic cost for the program. Now, earlier I had said that you should keep that email address active. And why? As I said before, your offer will be sent to that email, and you get a link in that email, right? Advising you that congratulations, you have been offered a place at the UWI Mona. And you click on that link, or you can go back into the application portal and you accept your offer, right? In that application portal is a link that says forms and documents. That little portal will have a copy of your offer letter, other important information on tuition, fees, orientation, general information, messages from the faculty, academic advising, dates, matriculation information, guide for incoming students, which gives you a step-by-step information on what to expect after you have received your offer. Now, when you receive your offer, please bear in mind, read your offer letter carefully, because you will receive different offers at different times, especially if you have applied to more than one program. So the offers will come at different times depending on when we have completed processing for that faculty or program. Each offer has an expiration date, okay? And if that date expires, then you can't click on that link again to accept. You then would have to contact us in the admissions office for us to refresh that offer. And then when we refresh it, you can go back and accept that offer. As I said before, you can receive multiple offers, and each time you receive an offer and you accept the last one, it's going to automatically reverse the decision of the previous one. So if you had accepted one to accounting and then you got one to humanities afterwards and you accepted that, the one previously will turn to that, you rejected that offer. But we can go back and forth. You just have to communicate with us if at some other time you wish to go back to your previous offer. But you must indicate a decision, even if you receive an offer and you're waiting on another one. If you do not want it, click reject, right? If it is that you wish to accept, go ahead and accept. If you want to defer meaning that we're going to hold that space for you, that offer until next year, the next academic year. So defer means that you're not coming in this year, you're going to come in next year. Right? So the application portal only records the latest decision. The previous ones will always change to reject. There are two types of offers that we give to persons. One is a firm offer, the other is a provisional offer. When you get a firm offer, it means that you have met all the requirements, right, for entering to that program. If you have been given a provisional offer, it means that you have met some of the requirements and we are waiting on something else, all right? So read what it is. The terms and conditions are there, and it would state clearly what it is that you have to complete in order to meet the requirements. Now, once you meet the requirements, that provisional offer can be upgraded to a firm offer, and that is once the stipulated terms and conditions have been met. Please note, however, that you're not able to register with a provisional offer. So even though you have a provisional offer, you cannot register. So you have to meet the requirements, or if you have not completed those requirements, then you have to engage us again to see what other program you can be considered for. Now, when you have a full-time student status, you apply and you have been granted, you apply as a full-time student. That status makes you eligible to register for a full course load, but you can also opt to register for fewer credits. And consequently, fully qualified student can also apply for part-time studies. So you can move between once you have met the full-time criteria. Part-time students, however, are restricted to no more than 3 courses per semester, maximum 9 credits, right? And you're billed per credit. You can upgrade to a full-time status after you have completed minimum 24 credits, right? So you can work your way out. And for those who may have financial challenges, right? And you don't want to break your studies, you can step down from full-time to part-time. You can take your 1 course, you can take your 2 courses, whatever it is that you can manage financially or even academically, because there's some persons who are not able to manage a full-time load, right? So you must know, after you have tested the waters, then you should, assess your ability, what it is that you're capable of. Can I manage a full-time load? Because you don't want to mess up your academic record. And we don't want you to stop because of financial reasons, all right? Persons can request entry in semester 2. Remember, I said that, you can do a deferral to the next academic year. You can also ask for entry in semester 2, but it depends on the program, right? Not all programs do that. And so for those persons who defer to the next academic year, they usually receive another offer letter. And we send that out by November, December. Please note, however, that persons who are deferring from a full fee paying program, a self-financing program, will be given a new offer letter to the same fee category. So if you're offered to full fee paying category, you're going to remain that way. Your next offer letter, it stays the same unless conditions have changed and all of that. Now, there are some persons when they get an offer, they proceed to select their courses, right, as part of the registration process. You're not considered a registered student unless you have selected your courses and paid the applicable fees. Now, there are some persons who accept our offer here at UWI. They select courses. For some reason or the other, they may get an offer elsewhere, or, circumstances, life happens. They didn't bother to come, but they forgot to drop those courses, and they did not request a deferral or advise us in the admission section by the latest mid-September of their intention not to start. The implication of that is as long as those courses remain on your record, you are going to be billed. You're going to be charged. Every time you select a course, the applicable charges are applied to your account. Now, we have a credit bureau. We have institutions that will call you to say that you owe the University of the West Indies money, and this goes against your credit. You're very young. We don't want your credit to be messed up, right? So make sure that if you select courses and you're not coming, right, log back into the system, drop them within the period of a drop. If those dates have passed, reach out to us in the admission section and let us know that you're not coming and that you need those courses to be dropped. All right, so for those persons, I spoke briefly on nationality, and there's some persons who I spoke about the implications of your nationality on the fee category that you will be in. All right. You don't want to be billed as an international student if it is that you live here and have been living here, or you can be naturalized as a Jamaican. So take, for instance, you have those persons who are born overseas, outside of the Caribbean region, US, UK, Canada, wherever. If you indicate that that is your nationality, you will be billed as an international student, and that will be the full economic cost. That tuition is very much different from you being billed as a Jamaican. All right. So if it is that you have been living here, attending school, you can be naturalized according to the criteria set by PICA. Your parents are Jamaicans, your grandparents, all of that. Please proceed to start the naturalization process. And once you have completed that naturalization process with PICA, then you take in your naturalization certificate to us, and we can change your nationality because you're now Jamaican. All right. So this applies to persons who have been living in Jamaica and you want to get the Jamaican rate for your tuition. Please engage PICA, get that naturalization certificate, complete that process before you select your courses in September. If it is that you do not get your nationality approved until after the semester has begun, you can appeal to the campus registrar for consideration, but it may not be approved for the September semester, okay? It may be approved for the January. So you still are liable to pay the international fees for the first semester, and that's still costly, all right? So I don't have much time because I know that we have 1 hour for this session. So I'm going to wrap up here. I'm going to leave our contact information, 876-970-1002-4. That's 876-970-1002-4 or 927-2779, 927-2779. Our email address in the Admissions and International Office, admissions@uwimona.edu.jm, admissions@uwimona.edu.jm. This is it from me and my team in the Admissions Office. And so we look forward to hearing from you. Whatever it is, just reach out to us. And we do hope that your experience throughout the application period would be very, a very rewarding one. And we do hope to see you in August. Take care.
Thank you so much, Dr. Allen. Thank you so much. So everyone joining us live on YouTube, just understand that there will be a Q&A section for about half an hour when we're finished with the presenters. We just have about 2 more presentations to do. So there will be a live Q&A section where you'll get responses in real time. For the meantime, you can ask your questions in the chat. You can also rewind the video if you're just joining, because Dr. Allen would have spoken to some of the questions you're asking. Now, again, I ask that persons share the link to the live. There are a lot of persons from your high school or from other schools that you know who would benefit from this. So we ask that you share the session so they can partake and ask questions in real time. I want to tell you that we have a commitment fee that you will pay after you've received your offer and you've accepted. In previous years, the commitment fee was $20,000. We are being told that this year, coming into this year, it is 35,000 Jamaican dollars. To be clear, so we have increased the commitment fee to 35,000 Jamaican dollars. Now understand, your commitment fee is not separate and apart from your tuition or any of your auxiliary fees. Your commitment fee, if you pay that 35,000, it goes towards your tuition or even your miscellaneous fees. It is not an added fee. I repeat, all it is saying is that you're committing to starting the UWI-MONA after you've taken up that particular offer. So I repeat, the commitment fee for this academic year is 35,000 Jamaican dollars, and it is not a separate fee. It is merely, look at it as an early payment towards your tuition or your miscellaneous fees, right? I know there's some students joining us from Trinidad and Tobago. I'm saying hello. I know there's some students joining us from other Caribbean islands. I'm saying hello and welcome. And of course, welcome to our students here in Jamaica. So being that I spoke about fees, we're gonna move into the presentation from the representative from the Office of Student Financing, and her name is Miss Marsha Lawrence. So I know a lot of you have been asking about scholarships. She'll speak to that a little, and of course, we'll take more questions afterwards. All right, I'm waiting. While I wait on my team to bring up the presentation from Ms. Marsha Lawrence to play the video recording, I'll answer some of the questions that I see in the chat. Again, we ask that you do not need a high school transcript if you are a student from the Caribbean region. We do not need a high school transcript. I saw someone asking about okay, here's the presentation. So we'll go into it right now.
Good evening. My name is Marsha Lawrence, and I'm a scholarship officer at the Office of Student Financing at the UWI-MONA campus. Our office takes pride in offering you a variety of scholarships, bursaries, and grants through collaborative efforts with donors and organizations. Here's how we can assist you. We offer assistance with tuition fees by ensuring your academic pursuits receive the necessary financial support. We also offer assistance with residence fees, with accommodation costs, so that you can have a more comfortable living experience. If it is that you need assistance with book grants, we can support your learning materials through a dedicated grant. And of course, if you need assistance with groceries, or if you need to join our food or meal program, we can ensure that you receive the nutritional needs to foster a conducive learning environment. Let's move on to our scholarship application period. From May 1st to July 31st each year, interested applicants can apply for our awards. To start the application process, please visit our website at www.mona.uwi.edu/OSF. Here you'll find a full list of our awards with criteria. You'll also find the general scholarships and bursaries application form, as well as the PATH bursary application form, which is on our website. The PATH bursary is offered September to October each academic year, and it is offered through the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. Please submit the completed forms along with any supporting documents to the Office of Student Financing at UWI-MONA by the stated deadlines. How to know if you're eligible to apply? To be considered for any award, you must be a registered student at the UWI-MONA campus. Most donors expect a grade point average of at least 3.0, while some awards may require a higher GPA. Please note, first-year students are exempted from these conditions. Should you have any questions or require any further assistance, feel free to reach out to us at 876-441-4120 or 876-441-3584. We are here to support you on your educational journey. At the UWI-MONA Office of Student Financing, we are committed to enhancing your educational experience and easing the financial aspects of your studies. Thank you for considering the opportunities available at our office.
All right, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. And I'll share the contact again in the chat for the Office of Student Financing. She spoke to when scholarships will be opening. I know we have over 100 scholarships in that department, and you can visit the website. You can simply type in any search engine, UWI-MONA Office of Student Financing. I repeat, UWI-MONA Office of Student Financing, and you will see our list of scholarships. You go to that website and you see a list of scholarships. Sometimes they would have organized it in terms of faculties, as well as you can look at the entire list of scholarships. You will then see the requirement for each scholarship. So I ask students to go and do your research at this point in time. There's some scholarships that are going to be there that the UWI-MONA will be in charge of in terms of distributing, but there are other scholarships that are external to us, but we still can make you aware. Now, U is a place of vibes and excitement, right? And also, we want you to consider another factor when thinking of college. What is my experience, right? What will I garner? And I know a lot of you might be on who want an international experience, but for some reason or another, it might not be afforded to you. I'm here to tell you that at the UWI-MONA, you can become a registered student and still have an international experience. And to tell you more about it, I have representatives from the from the International Students Office. I have here with me Ms. Tonian Reed and Ms. Herman Tyrell, and they're going to take you through what it's like, what are the opportunities at our International Students Office.
Thank you, Odin. Esteemed prospective students, parents, guardians, my fellow colleagues, a cordial welcome. My name is Herman Tyrell, and with me is
Tony Ann Reed. Good evening, listeners.
in this session, We will tell you about the wonderful international opportunities that will allow you to experience the world as a registered student at the University of the West Indies through participation in the Student Exchange Program.
You will also hear a student experience overseas.
Experience the world as a registered student at the University of the West Indies. You can gain cultural insights, make valuable contacts, and broaden your horizon while living and studying at a university of your choice or at any one of our partner universities.
Cost of studying overseas. The average tuition cost in the US for an international student is $25,000 to $45,000 US per year. The average living cost in the US for an international student is $10,000 to $36,000 per year. The average tuition cost in Canada for an international student will range between $15,000 to $24,000, whilst the average living cost in Canada will range between $9,000 to $12,000 US per year.
The UWI offers you the best of both worlds. We have exchange and study abroad programs where credits from approved courses at these overseas institutions counts towards your UWI degree.
Currently, we have 45 active partnerships in 16 countries with universities in Canada, US, UK, Sweden, Austria, Colombia, Spain, Japan, Greece, and Scotland. Please visit the International Office website for a list of the universities. Some of these universities include the University of Toronto, Guelph, York, Western University, and McGill in Canada. In the US, there is the University of Richmond, and in China, there is the University of Jinan.
The exchange program is open to both undergraduate and graduate students at the University of the West Indies. Students only pay tuition and miscellaneous fees to the UWI. No tuition is paid to the host university. Students must have completed at least 1 year of studies at the university and be registered as a full-time student. Students must have attained at least a 3.0 GPA to be eligible to participate in this program. Students are not allowed to participate during the final semester of their final year. Undergraduate students can participate during their third, fourth, or fifth semester of studies at the university. Graduate students, on the other hand, can participate during their second year. Students should not have any disciplinary action pending against them or none taken. Students should have no financial holds on their record at the university.
Areas of support provided to our outbound students. We assist students in selecting a host country as well as a host university. We assist students in completing their applications. We provide guidance with scholarship applications as well. We also host various pre-departure sessions, which cover important areas such as immigration, travel, budgeting, mental health, and well-being. We will look at a student experience abroad. Today we have with us Leanne, who recently returned from Memorial University in Canada. She'll be sharing her testimonial with us today. Over to you, Leanne.
Thank you. Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Leanne Johnson. I am a third-year marketing and tourism student, and I have a deep, deep passion for experiencing new cultures and just experiencing people overall. So that led me to wanting to do this exchange in the first place. So thankfully, by the grace of God, I was the recipient of the ELAP scholarship, which is the Emerging Leaders in the Americas Program Scholarship. And that allowed me to really get to experience this along with the help of Tonian and Mr. Rell and everyone in the office. They helped me out amazingly as well. So the experience started last semester. It was for the whole semester. I did tours of the whole country. Well, not the country, but of my city. I was on my house's council. I met friends from all across the world, and it was just an amazing experience that I really, really urge you guys to consider. And through it all, my GPA still good, still looking good, and it was just an all-round well spent experience and something that you guys really, really should consider. And I just want to urge you guys that when you're at UE, when you come, just apply, just try, and don't limit yourself in anything you do. Just give it a shot, and you never know. So I hope you guys do get to experience this as well if you're interested, and just apply. You got this. Thank you.
Wow, wow, excellent. Thank you, Leanne. Now you can also make this happen for you. We thank you listeners. You can contact us at our email address, ISO Mona, that's one word, at uwimona.edu.jm, or you can contact us by telephone 876-702-3737 for further information. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rell. Thank you, Ms. Reed. Thank you, Leanne. And as she said, try. Give it a shot. Give yourself a shot. And that's a message I want all the students listening to realize. Give yourself a chance. Give yourself a chance at becoming a Mona Pelican. Give yourself a chance at getting that degree. And when you get here, give yourself a chance of experiencing, having an international experience and visiting our international students office. I want to thank the persons who came out to share that. Now we're into this segment, the open question and answer segment. Before we get into that, before I start asking the questions, I just want you to know that we have an Office of Student Services and Development here at the UWI-Mona. This office takes care of things such as accommodation. So all the halls of residence fall under this office. And a lot of persons will ask, when will applications open for accommodation? It's typically during April that we start opening applications for accommodation. So ensure you are researching our various halls of residence. We have 9 for undergraduate students and we have 1 for postgrad students. So you can do your research, go on their Instagram pages, see what the hall culture is like, and then you apply in April. The university will clear half the halls every year to accommodate new students. So ensure you apply. If you're a first-year student, you get preference. You apply to halls of residence. Also, the clubs and societies, and we have our different Caribbean students organizations or clubs. They fall under this office. So I want you to know that we have over 100 clubs and societies at the UWI-Mona. We pride ourselves in putting out all-rounded graduates. So as Leanne said, when you're here, become involved, and especially if you plan to apply for scholarships, they want to know that you're not just getting that 4.0, but that you're making a valuable contribution to the community that you're a part of. So through our Office of Student Services and Development, you can also be involved in clubs and societies ranging from sports, leadership. We have, if you're into philanthropic clubs and societies, they're there as well, right? So we have an Office of Career and Placement Services. So for those who are not so sure yet how that degree aligns with what's in the marketplace, you can definitely visit our Office of Placement and Career Services, and they'll help you out. So when you're in your final year, they normally have an expo where they invite persons from the corporate area, the private sector, public sector to come in and give you interviews, mock interviews before you enter the world of work, right? So I want you to understand that we take care of you here at the UWI Mona. It's not just the degree that we consider, but we want your holistic development. And so I'll look to the chat now for some questions. And Dr. Morgan Allen, I know Dr. Morgan Allen is in the chat a lot, as well as Mrs. Primrose Brown, and they're answering some of your questions, right? Let me see if I can take one. They're asking, do you have to be a student at UWI to apply for an international scholarship? I'm not sure if this one is directed at ISO, but they're saying, do you have to be a student at UWI to apply for an international scholarship? Mr. L, you still with us? I think I know the answer, but I'd want someone from the ISO to speak to.
No, that would be from the Office of Student Financing.
Right.
They're asking if they can apply for scholarships
Right.
as
So
an international student.
right. But I don't know if they're asking that because Tony said she would have applied for a scholarship and what that came through. So the person can restructure the question. Are you asking in terms of having international experience, or are you an international student that is looking to get a scholarship? So you can restructure that question, or we can assist you accordingly. Yes, Jamaica is a sponsored country. I see someone asking, is Jamaica a sponsored country? Yes, Jamaica is a sponsored country. I don't know if Dr. Morgan Allen would like to share again the countries that we have as sponsored, if she wants to speak to that.
Okay, so you're saying that somebody is asking if the different countries that they can get sponsorship from?
Right, yeah.
So, right. So all of those governments that contribute to UWI's budget, so that would be Turks, the Bahamas, Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, Grenada. I have Mrs. Foster here with me, another member of the admissions team, so she's supporting me. Where is Donna? Dominica, Saint Lucia, Saint Kitts, Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, Anguilla, the BVI. All of those governments contribute. So if you're from there, just engage your Ministry of Education or your Ministry of Finance to find out the requirements to be sponsored. And some of them, even if they're not sponsored, or some of them have a quota for certain programs, but they sometimes would give you scholarships. So find out from them what kind of financial benefit you can get.
Okay, and stay with me, Dr. Morgan Allen. I see a question here. Can you still change your second option for the program, even though you have already submitted your application?
Okay, so there are some programs that only consider those applicants who indicated that they had them as first choice. And so those programs, dentistry, nursing, physical therapy, right? You must have those as your first choice. So yes, you can go back. You can't go back into the application. Once you submit your application, you can go in and change anything. But you can reach out to us in the admission section and ask us to change around your preferences. And that email address is admissions@uwimona.edu.jm. Another point I need to make, Mr. Murray, not sure how many persons are cognizant of this whole Data Protection Act. So we have to be careful when persons call on your behalf to check the status of your application. And so, be prepared to give us some sort of details, some sort of identification. When you become students also, when you become registered students, please try to fill out something. Give us something in writing to say that my parents, my guardians, my grandparents, my husband, my wife, somebody is going to ask information about whether my grades, my fees, and so you have my permission to give them that information. So be cognizant of that. There's another thing too that most of us are not thinking of, and that is death. There is a form that you also have to complete, submit to us, and that's a beneficiary form, right? So you don't do that right now in the early stages of the application, but when you're submitting your medical report, there's a beneficiary form, and it has a purpose. It has an insurance benefit purpose. It has a death benefit purpose. As students of the UWI, when you pay your miscellaneous fees, part of that fee covers health, a health plan. You get a health card, and you can use it at our health center, and you can use it at external places, pharmacies, counselors. We have everything at that health center. We have counselors, psychologists, we have a pharmacy, we have doctors of different specializations. You can also use the health dentistry, dentists and all of that. Now, should in case anything happened to you, death, that beneficiary form, right? It goes to your beneficiary. It means, therefore, that somebody, whoever you name on it, when they contact us and engage us, whatever is due to you and you're no longer there can be passed on to them. So make sure that you submit that beneficiary form.
Okay, thank you. Could you speak to MBBS a little, especially persons who, the 2 tiers, and persons who think you can move from one to the other after getting an offer?
All right, so the MBBS, unfortunately for those who are just leaving high school, right? We have to be guided by our accreditation rules, and we also have to be guided by our agreement with the Jamaican government. There are 2 fee categories in the MBBS program. One is sponsored, and that's a very small number of persons can get one of those spaces. That's only 55. All others can get, Jamaicans, they get the full fee paying category, right? Outside of the 55 sponsored places. Can you move between 2 categories? No. No, you can't, right? So if you have been offered to the full fee, it means therefore that you have to remain in it for the next 5 years. So you have to know your pocket. Your parents have to know, can I afford 28,000 US dollars for each of 5 years, in addition to books, equipment, accommodation, everyday expenses, versus I think the sponsored places around 600 and something thousand dollars per year. These are the fees for this current academic year. What I need to say too is that persons sometimes think that they can wing it. They can start off with the 28,000, must find a way. No, the implications are you go ahead and you register and you continue, didn't drop those courses. So even if you stopped or you didn't attend classes or you started early September or you went all the way down to November before exams, if you did not drop those courses, you are liable for what, 14,000 US dollars in terms of tuition for that first semester. So you have to know your pocket. You have to know what kind of agreement that you're going in. Can you afford it or not? Because it's going to mess you up. It's going to mess up your credit and it's going to mess up your academic record if you do not get to sit those exams. Because in order for you to return, to be readmitted, you're going to have to pay off all of that debt to us. So you have to be careful of the decisions and, just seek some guidance.
Okay. Thank you so much for that.
I also should point out that usually persons who are just leaving high school would not be considered for the sponsored places, unfortunately, because 55, that's a quota, right? And we usually have hundreds of qualified persons who, when we make the selection, when we have our selection meeting for the 55, their application is already complete. You who are just leaving high school, your second unit of CAPE won't come in until possibly August or September. right? And we would have made our selection from way up in February, March. So, it's not going to be one of the sponsored places that you would get during this same academic year.
Okay. Could you speak to the financial questionnaire? Is it a case that they have to bring in that as the physical document?
Okay, so it is a physical document that should be brought in with the supporting documents, your bank statements and all of that. But it's under review. So we ask that you just hold off on that. It's not important right now. Hold off on the financial questionnaire and those supporting documents because we are reviewing that process and we will give you further information later on. So just hold off on it because we're going to review that process and possibly revise it. So do not concern yourself about that financial questionnaire right now.
Okay. And City and Guilds, someone is asking if we do accept City and Guilds.
We do accept some City and Guilds. It depends on the program. It depends on the subjects that you did and the grades. But we do look at, I think, the maths and the English. We consider those. But persons with those can be considered on a case-by-case basis, depending on the program of your choice.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I'm checking the chat to see what else they're asking. All right. Still people still asking about is the deadline for January 31st for the admissions for the same for the Faculty of Science and Technology? And someone asking about the requirements for law. If they do science subjects, could they get into law?
Right. Law is not subject specific. So you can do anything as long as you have your grades and you can get into law. But you have to get the grades, all right? What we do for those who are doing CAPE, we can always give you a provisional offer based on your Unit 1 results. And then we tell you that you need to maintain. If you get a provisional based on your Unit 1, it means that you have to maintain those same grades or get better in order to get that firm offer.
All right. I have a question here about someone who misplaced their CSEC certificate. So they had the original, but they can't seem to find it.
Okay.
How do they go about in terms of them now qualifying or certifying to upload?
Okay. So if that person did those CXC exams, say in the last 10 years, as I mentioned earlier, we do get the grades electronically from CXC. And CXC would give us your grades. You just indicate to us when we reach out to you what happened to your certificate. You can't find it. As long as we have those grades from CXC, then we can use those. If it is that you have gone beyond the 10 years, then we advise you to contact the Overseas Commission on Marasca Road, and they can always send us a transcript with your grades. And, transcripts come directly from institution to institution. You can pick it up, but it must be in a sealed envelope. As well as they can email it to me. And my address is marsha.morganallen@uiimona.edu.jm. So if there are some persons who, the mail may take a longer time or the courier, if you want to meet a deadline, you want to get it early, we can accept an emailed copy of the transcript, but it must come from the registrar's office directly to us.
Okay. I see persons asking, I can answer some of these. When is the deadline for applications? We're going with January 31, just next week. So try and get your applications in. What you need to know is that you can submit your application. So even if you're pending some documents, you can submit your application and then upload, right? So don't worry that if you're right there, and you don't have all of it, that you're gonna miss it. No, still submit it and can upload. CJ, I see you asking about logistics. We do not have logistics as a major, but operations management. I find that students who are interested in logistics, that's the major they choose. So you can consider and research operations management and see how it aligns with your career path. I saw another question about double major. So you want to speak to the double major, especially when they're applying, because some want to apply for the double major from the get.
Right. We're getting quite a few of those. Even today, I had to answer some. So when you talk about double major, right, you declare a double major after you have entered the university and you're registering. That is between you and the faculty. So you're only eligible for an offer to one program. So you have your 4 choices, and if you want, to add other programs, then you indicate that to us. So we offer you to what program? In terms of adding another major, making it a double major, then you can declare your major at registration time during academic advising. You have that discussion with your faculty, your faculty, whether your department or the faculty office. So don't worry about that now. That comes at another time. What you can do in the meantime is to read up on those 2 programs in the faculty handbook. And double major, it means that you have to complete a certain number of credits in each of those majors. So it may be a difficult task, but I'm quite sure you're up to it. And it makes you more marketable.
Right.
And you can also have a double major and a minor, or a major and a minor, right? So the choice is yours.
Right. I see a question about living in hall residence, double occupancy. You can request to pair with someone you know. You can, some halls will facilitate that, especially if you're relatives, if you're related to the person, a cousin, sister, brother. They don't mix in terms of genders though, right? So yes, you can request. That person asking the question about housing, yes, you can. Somebody asked about applying if you need to get an offer before applying to the halls. Yes, because the hall application will ask you for your ID number, right? I do know there are cases, persons who are waiting for, say, law and MBBS, who will not hear until August. I do know of cases where they contact lodgings, Office of Student Services and Development, and they'll give them a pseudo in the time being, give them a number to put in just so they can process their application to get housing as they wait. But what I do know, if you've applied for law or medicine, chances are you'll receive another offer as well. And so if even to accept that offer, to get your ID number to apply to housing, you can do that. And then of course, we'll still process your application for MBBS or law.
We should did we tell them that the application for the hall is a separate form? So even though on the application form for, but this application that you just submitted, even though it asks you, your hall of choice, which hall you want to go on, that is not the application form, right? There's a separate application form that will come, they will open it at a certain time, and you complete that form, and it is sent directly to the accommodation officer.
Definitely. Someone, does the UWI Mona Western Campus offer housing accommodation? Yes, it does. We have a hall at our Western Jamaica campus. And as Dr. Morgan Allen said, applying for halls of residence or living on campus is a separate application from applying to the UWI Mona to be a student. How long will it take you to know if you're accepted?
Offers are going out daily, as when we close in February. So, it depends on the status of your application and all of that. So, different persons will get offers at different times.
Right. So don't worry if you're, for instance, if you've applied for medicine or law, but your friend applied for psychology or accounting and they get an offer before you, right? And
don't panic.
Don't panic for that, for sure. And what I'll say to some students, sometimes, I know Dr. Morgan Allen spoke about your email. Sometimes for some students, you might not see the email. So I say check the portal regularly, intermittently. That same portal that you apply.
Spam, junk.
Right. Check it regularly to see if you've gotten an offer. And you can defer. I saw someone asking if they can apply now for 2025 September. we wouldn't allow that. But for sure, if you want to get the process over with, if you're in upper sixth form, you can do it now. And if you get that offer, you can defer to start the following academic year.
There's no cap for law. Someone was asking about the quota, and we take hundreds each year as long as they meet the criteria.
Okay. Yes, we do have a program for software engineering. It is in our Faculty of Science
and Technology.
Dr. Morgan Allen, could you speak to somebody asking about computer science? Could you speak to the computer science we have in science and technology versus what we offer in humanities? Because I know we offer a BA there as well.
Right. So the one in science and technology, that one is a BSc, Bachelor of Science. The one in humanities and education is a BA, Bachelor of Arts. To get into the BSc Computer Science in the Faculty of Science and Technology, you have to meet the faculty requirements. So you have to have at least one science subject to be eligible for the computer science there, but you also have to meet the faculty requirements in terms of having chemistry, biology, physics, maths, English. Because what the faculty wants to know is that should in case they take you into the computer science and you don't make it, you can't handle it, then you don't have to be the faculty. You have other options. So you can move on to something in chemistry or biology, different variations of those subjects, different majors. In humanities and education, you would be doing a lot of arts subjects, humanities-based subjects to supplement your computer degree. And so some of those computer courses are also over by science and technology. So at some point, you're going to have some cross-faculty courses to do, but most of your courses will be humanities-based.
Okay.
And there's also a B.Ed in computer if you want to teach.
Right. Somebody asking, is it possible to get accepted with your CSET results and 1 unit of CAPE? And you can go ahead with that one, Dr. Morgan.
All right, so it depends on the program. So CSEC only and 1 unit of CAPE, that makes you eligible for part-time studies in faculties of science and technology, humanities. It won't get you into law. It won't get you medical sciences. It can get, if you have the 2 science subjects, along with maths and English and, another subject to make it up to 5, you can get into the 4-year full-time program in science and technology. So it all depends on the program and the subjects that you have at CSEC.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm just scrolling through to see if we'll close in about 5 minutes. So if you have questions,
there's this last one here. If the applicant last year on a transfer but wasn't able to begin then, would still be accepted given if they applied for the next academic year? Right. So if you had indicated a deferral, right, then yes, your space is still there. But if you did not indicate a deferral, it means that you have to apply again, because that application then becomes null and void for that, because that is for that period. Math at grade 4, as you know, math grade 3 became a pass in 1990, is it 8? Right? So a grade 4 is not a pass. Humanities, though, if you're applying to the Faculty of Humanities and Education, they don't require math as a required subject. And I think that, yeah, you don't require math. So it depends on what you're applying for. But definitely you need math for science and technology. You'll need math for social sciences, MSBM programs. Now, for those persons who do not have math, you have two options. What we do, we normally look at your application. If you don't have math and you want to do social sciences, right? The only department that will take without math is Department of Government. Because what that program or that department did was to develop a course, a government-based math course. So you can only do their courses in the Department of Government. That's IR, political science, political strategy. Those programs, as long as you pass that in-house math course, then you can proceed and complete their degree program. But you can't do that government math course and decide that you want to go do something in accounting or management studies or operations management or entrepreneurship. It won't take you over there. The other option is that either you repeat your CSEC maths, do them in January, and come in January if that program is open in January, or in the summer, you could do the remedial math in the Department of Econ. And once you pass that remedial econ course, remedial math course, then that makes you eligible to the programs in MSBM. So if you know you're not strong at math, start planning for summer and register for summer school, specially admitted or special admissions, and do that remedial math course, and you're on your way for an offer, provided you meet other requirements.
Right. I just want to plug that we do Pelican Talks. It's a new initiative. I know later down in the year, after we start sending out offers, we'll speak again, because at that time you want to know about acceptance, more about hall, more about financing the degree. So we're gonna have a series of this session, maybe in March or April. So stay close to our social media platforms. We're on all socials at UWI-MONA, except YouTube, right? We're at MonaMedia. So ensure you follow us so you can stay abreast. Also, I wanted to speak to, I saw a question. So I think it's Kayla that asked. Kayla, you do not need a transcript, so don't worry about those grades.
Not high school.
Right, not high school. So I see you talking about grades from high school. You do not need a high school transcript if you're a Jamaican student or Caribbean student before applying or to apply to the UWI-MONA. So we're winding down about 3 minutes. We will close. We also have the open house. We have open house day 2. I know students would have come in terms of with their schools. So schools have already registered to come to day 2. This is February 23, and our open house is where we invite you to come to the campus and learn about our programs. You have a tour of the faculties, and so you can be better informed as you make that decision in terms of applying or accepting an offer. So that's February 23 on the UWI-MONA campus. If it is that you want to come with your parents, that is afforded to you. If you want to come with a group of friends, if you're here and you came on day 1, but you still felt like, because of the weather you were shortchanged, you can also come to the UWI-MONA campus on February 23 and join a school, walk with a school, and do a tour. So that's our open house. And if your teacher, you can go to your teacher, if you said, UWI says they're having an open house, are we going? And have your teacher reach out to us, and we'll definitely organize it for you. We also do tours of the campus. Thursdays are our tour days. So if any school administrator is here, any students, and you want to do a tour, you can also do a tour of the campus. I'll put the email address or ask Mrs. Brown to put the email address. It's recruiting@uwimona.edu.jm, recruiting@uwimona.edu.jm. So if you want to do a tour of the campus, a private tour of your school, you can also do that. I see a lot of questions about deferral and commitment fee. Dr. Allen, in terms of if they defer, if you defer but pay the commitment fee, or if you defer and didn't, do you still have the spot?
You still have the spot, you do. You can defer and ask for a refund. You can also, because it will sit on the account also and go towards next year fees. So, right, not paying the commitment fee, we won't hold it against you.
Right. There are language clubs. That's Adrian asking about languages are extracurricular. There are language clubs, and I know we're working towards all students to be eligible to graduate. I know we're getting to a place where we're going to ask you to sit at least one foreign language for one semester. before, to be eligible. So notice we didn't say you need a foreign language to come to UWI, but we're saying when you get here to be eligible to graduate, we're recommending that you do one foreign language. If it is that you've done so in high school already, you can be exempted, right? But we have many languages. We have Korean, we have Chinese, Mandarin, we have Spanish, French, Portuguese. So we have Jamaican Creole, we have sign language. So broaden your horizon as you think of languages. And again, remember, we want all-rounded graduates. So don't just think about occupying or taking up space in Jamaica, but think about how this language can get you to other places and give you more opportunities, right? We'll take a few more questions. We're gonna wrap up soon. Marketing is in the Faculty of Social Sciences. The requirements are minimum of 5 subjects, right? Mathematics and English language are compulsory at the CSEC level. And if you want to come into the full-time program, you will need 2 double units of any CAPE subject, right? That will give you full-time. If you do not have the CAPE subjects, you could be given an offer, but that will come, you get a part-time offer. So that is marketing.
Full-time is 3 years. And part-time can be minimum 4 years. But you can utilize your summers and try to do some more courses during the summer period.
Right. So I'll say students, we're gonna have more Pelican Talks. Mrs. Brown just shared the email address. So you can reach out to us. I hope this session has been useful for all of you. Remember that we're not just here to give you a degree, but we want the holistic development, which is why we're pushing the international experience, which is why we have our Office of Student Services and Development. So understand that when you become a UWI Mona Pelican, you'll get that degree and more. So Dr. Morgan Allen would have shared her general admissions email, and this is admissions@uwimona.edu.jm. So any admissions or application related queries that you may have, this is the email address that you use, admissions@uwimona.edu.jm. And remember, you can always come back to this session. It's gonna be on YouTube. You can always come back and scroll through and listen again about if you have any questions at all. And so we want to thank everyone for joining. I want to thank my team at the UWI Mona. I want to thank Leanne for coming on and speaking about her experience in terms of from the International Students Office. And so thank you, students, for joining. We hope to see you at Open House. We hope to see you when we speak to Pelican Talks, the series coming later down in the year, because we will be here again to assist you. And on behalf of the entire UWI Mona, thank you so much for joining us.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.